Hello, everyone. We're going to read from the module and we're going to read from the companion. In the module, we have the following introduction entitled The Caverns. That is separate from the castle, which will be in the next video. Okay, let's go on and look at what the module says about the caverns in general and then specifically about Area 1. Umber hulks bored the tunnels that connect this level of Undermountain to the levels above and below. The stone giants don't like the damage that the Umber hulks cause and scare them off as best they can. Unless otherwise noted, all chambers on this level are rough-hewn, not naturally formed, and have 30-foot high ceilings, while wider passages are 20 feet tall, ideal for the 18-foot tall stone giants that dwell here. Narrower tunnels are 5 feet wide and 8 feet tall, too small for the giants to fit inside. All caves and tunnels are unlit, since the giants rely on dark vision to see. Then we can take our adventurers to Area 1, up here. And in the module we read the title, Umber Shells. Umber hulks are fond of gathering here, and the cave floor is littered with their molted carapaces. Okay, and then in the companion, we read the following. The air grows thick here, so far below the earth. There's a sour taste to it. The cave floor is littered with molted carapaces, some larger than a suit of plate armor. In the distance, you hear the dull crash of thunder, echoing throughout the caverns, and even more dimly is the sound of upbeat, jubilant music. The thunder is the distant comings and goings of the stone giants, foreshadowing. Maddgoth's dance. When the party arrives, Hallister Blackcloak sends a cryptic telepathic message. He's divined several possible futures. Many feature Maddgoth's attempt to poison them with midnight tears, a poison that claims its victims at the stroke of midnight. Read the following. That loathsome voice squirms its way into your mind, the voice of the mad mage. Do you hear it? The distant thunder, the footfalls, and that music? Slow, insidious, venom wrapped in velvet. Go to it, my contestants. Go, and quickly, for night falls even here below the earth, and when midnight tolls, it tolls for thee. The music Hallister refers to is the wand of conducting in Area 8, which, per the supplement, is playing on its own. It's an intentional red herring that Hallister throws at the party. All right, then we move our heroes down to Area 2. And we read the following in the module, Empty Cavern. The stone giants seldom visit this cavern, which contains nothing of interest. Then they can move over here to Area 3. Stone Throne. To the south, a large protuberance of jagged rock has been carved into the form of a giant-sized throne. Blue quartz crystals grow out of the rock. A large X has been carved on the floor of the passage leading to Area 4. Treasure. 60 pieces of blue quartz can be broken off the throne. Each piece is worth 10 gold pieces. Okay, and then in the module, we read the following. From a large jutting of jagged rock, a throne has been carved. Blue quartz crystals glitter from its sides. It's utterly massive. Just the idea of sitting upon that throne brings back old memories of you trying on your father's clothes as a young kid. Upon the throne lies a tablet bearing a mosaic of a mountain split in twain beneath a blue sky. The mosaic lying on the throne was carved by Norsh, See the shadow of Norse. Long ago, for Great Father's Day, a giant holiday honoring one's father. It's a size of small, weighs 50 pounds, and is worth 250 GP. A giant can hold it in its palm. Gravelock is grateful to any creature that brings him the mosaic or points out its location to him. Whenever he gets the chance, the fairy dragon often hides the mosaic under illusion of in magic to screw with Gravelock. Okay, moving on heroes to area 4, the Silt Pit. The giants avoid this cave since they know it contains a 40-foot deep pit of silt, more commonly known to adventurers as quicksand. The character who prods the floor or otherwise searches for traps detects the natural hazard with a successful DC 10 Wisdom Perception check. The characters can avoid this pit by staying within 5 feet of the walls. If a character falls into the pit, resolve the outcome using the quicksand rules in Chapter 5 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Then in the companion, we read, we just don't get enough environmental hazards in our adventure delving these days. See the sidebar for quicksand. Quicksand. When a creature enters this area, it sinks 1d4 plus 1 feet into the quicksand and becomes restrained. At the start of each of the creature's turns, it sinks another 1d4 feet. As long as the creature isn't completely submerged in quicksand, it can escape by using its action and succeeding on a strength check. The DC 10 plus the number of feet the creature has sunk. The DC is 10 plus the number of feet the creature has sunk into the quicksand. A creature that is completely submerged in quicksand can't breathe. See the suffocation rules in the player's handbook. A creature can pull another creature within its reach out of a quicksand pit by using its action and succeeding on a strength check. The DC is 5 plus the number of feet the target creature has sunk into the quicksand. Okay, moving along to Area 5. In the module, we read Cave of Echoes. Characters who enter this empty cavern hear the humming and chiseling of Gravelock, the stone giant in Area 6A. 2 tunnels lead in that direction, and the sounds coming from both are equally loud. If the characters create a ruckus here, Gravelock hears the disturbance, stops working, and investigates. Area 6, Craft Hall. The walls of these caves are covered with abstract carvings, many of them unfinished. Area 6A. Wait, let's first see what the module says about Area 6 in general. Unfinished carvings, all abstract and all hauntingly beautiful, litter the cavern walls. The rap, rap, rap of a chisel echoes from deeper in the dark. If you're using the Shadow of Norse variant described above, replace the chiseling with the heavy footfalls of Gravelock and the occasional clattering of stone. The giant is searching every nook and cranny for Norse's mosaic. See Area 3. He leaves literally no stone unturned. The giant's revulsion to small folk is blunted by his desperate search for the mosaic. He is grateful to any creature that helps him find it, even vouching for them to the rest of the family, and thus allowing them safe transit through this realm. For now. In less than 8 hours, he'll forget both the mosaic's location and his gratitude, making for a nasty surprise if the party takes a long rest here. Okay, then in the module we read of Area 6A. The stone giant is using a chisel to carve on the wall between the tunnels leading to Area 5. Abstract carvings cover the walls and chiseled bits of stone lie scattered across the floor. If the characters catch him by surprise or greet him with hostility, Gravelock retreats to Area 13 while shouting out to his family a giant invasion army. Oh, this is all stuff that you can read yourself if you want in the module. It's just going to confuse you now. I'm not going to add it to the companion. But I will describe whatever is useful still. In addition to his great club, Gravelock carries a favorite chisel, much too large for medium or smaller characters to use as an effective tool. The successful DC 15 Intelligence Religion check identifies Gravelock's wall carving as a 30-foot tall image of Scoraeus stone bones, the stone giant god. Gravelog hopes that Scoraeus will be honored by the carving enough to help him catch whoever has been tormenting his family. 6B, tool storage. The stone giants store their stone carving tools in this cave. The tools are too big and unwieldy to be used by anyone not of the giant's size. Area 7, silt pit. Carved into the floor where the northeast tunnel meets this cave is a large X, a warning sign. This cave contains a silt pit like the one in Area 4. In the module, we read, see the quicksand sidebar. If a giant is nearby, they might rescue a sinking character out of pity, much like how a human might save a dog from traffic. Okay, moving on to Area 8, storage rock formation. In the module, we read, what at first glance appears to be a spiky rock formation in the middle of the cavern is really a petrified basilisk. Jagged spirals are carved into the walls and roof, but the crude artwork is incomplete. The tunnel to the southeast descends for hundreds of feet to level 8. Hundreds of years ago, before the arrival of the stone giants, an adventurer used a mirror to trick the basilisk into targeting itself with its own petrifying gaze. It has remained a fixture of this cavern ever since. The detect magic spell reveals an aura of conjuration magic emanating from within the basilisk's belly. One must smash open the basilisk to get at the treasure inside. Its belly can be cracked open with a solid weapon hit. Inside the belly of the basilisk is a gold ring set with moonstones, 250 GP, and a wand of conducting. The wand, a common magic item, has 3 charges and doesn't require attunement. The holder of the wand can use an action to expend 1 charge and create an orchestral music by waving it around. The music can be heard out to a range of 60 feet and ends when the holder stops waving the wand. The wand regains all expended charges daily at dawn. If the wand's last charge is expended, roll a d20. On a 1, a sad tuba sound plays as the wand crumbles to dust and is destroyed. In the companion, we read, the wand of conducting's cool. It's just cool. Have it already playing orchestral music in the hall of the Mountain King when the adventurers arrive to level 7. Until it's removed from the petrified basilisk, it continues on a loop. Your song of choice could be the theme song, if any, for Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Alistair's extra planner program apparently broadcasted across the multiverse for millions to enjoy. Choose whatever fits your campaign. Once removed, the music halts, but the same song can be replicated. Alistair can also remotely activate it whenever he wishes, often using it to play music at the most inopportune of moments, namely if the party is attempting to hide from a foe. Okay, let's move our adventurers to Area 9. We can get a grip on them there. No, apparently not. There we go. Okay, Area 9. Stone Cathedral. This chamber has all the looming hollowness of a cathedral. The walls have been sculpted into exquisite arches, buttresses, and draperies. Carvings of giant whorls and spirals cover the ceiling. 3 dramatic crystal formations explode from the floor, each one roughly 10 feet wide and 15 feet tall. Broken shards of crystal litter the floor around them. The stone giants eat the crystals that grow in this chamber. 10 pounds of crystals provide a giant with the equivalent of a nutritious meal. The crystal formations regrow at a steady pace thanks to Alistair's magic. Most humanoids would not consider them edible. Okay, moving along to Area 10, Zorta's Flute. There's Zorta. Okay, the reclusive stone giant lairs here, shunning the rest of her family. 10 giant bats cling to the cave's roof, their wings wrapped tightly around their bodies as they sleep. Strewn upon the uneven floor amid mounds of bat guano are loose rocks that Zorta hurls at intruders and others who bother her. Zorta reclines in the north alcove, partially hidden behind natural columns of rock. She uses her stone camouflage trait to blend in with her surroundings. Zorta has a mind to explore more of Undermountain, but her parents won't let her stray far. She lacks the courage to defy them and knows they won't let her leave. She has a 4 foot long stone flute and likes to play it here because the acoustics are favorable. She's still learning how to play, though, and often forgets her own lessons. Zorta doesn't remember who crafted the flute, she did, or how it became magical, but she knows that the giant bats enjoy it. If Zorta is attacked, she can use an action to play a few notes on her flute and cause the giant bats to swoop down and attack her enemies until she plays the flute again to call them off. The stone flute is too large for medium or smaller creatures to play, and only Zorta can use its magical power. Let's move up here a little bit. Okay, let's see what the module says. The companion. The companion has this for the players. Halting music haunts the caverns, sometimes talented, but more often produced by an obvious novice. As you approach, you see bats the size of dogs squirm up above. Guano occasionally falls like disparate rain. Layering here is a giantess wielding a massive flute carved from stone. A character with a passive perception of 14 or higher can hear the sobbing just under the din of the music. When the small folk arrive, Zorta wipes the tears from her eyes and treats them as a welcome distraction from her weeping. On any given day, she would be delighted to meet outsiders, for her heart yearns to explore Undermountain. While she would vouch for the party if her siblings confronted them, she's too timid to stand alone against her parents. While Zorta believes she wishes to explore Undermountain, truly her heart wishes to leave this place to escape the shadow of Norse's death. Norse thought Norse taught Zorta how to play music, though so those lessons fell short with his ultimate untimely death. Her mind cannot remember Norse, but her heart does, and playing the flute only gets her weeping. Okay. And she doesn't know why, because she remembers her brother. Okay, Area 11, Disposal Cave. The stench of death fills these caves, which the giants visit infrequently. In the module, we read this to the players. The air is rank with filth and rot and death. And then for Area 11A, in the module, we read giant carved visages of Hallister cover the walls. Each face has a different expression. Dozens of humanoid corpses in varying stages of putrefaction, including a few reduced to moldy bones, lie stacked like cordwood against the walls. The stone giants have met Hallister several times over the years and carved his visage over many of those occasions. Though the giants' memories of him never last, the faces in this cavern remain. The giants have begun using the cavern to store the bodies of creatures they're forced to kill. With the Duergar and the Drow returning to Undermountain in force and the Bullywugs on level 8 becoming more aggressive, such encounters have become commonplace. Again, the giants have no memory of these altercations and they have no use for the dead gear. The corpses include a Drow, 2 Quaggoths, 5 Troglodytes, 7 Hobgoblins, 3 Duergar, 6 Grimlocks, 9 Bullywugs, and 2 humans, former members of an adventuring party. The stone giants toss the creatures' weapons into the nearby silt pit, Area 11B. The Drow corpse bears a black breastplate with a platinum spider motif manufactured by the Drow. This +1 breastplate loses its enchantment bonus if exposed to sunlight for 1 hour or more. Further examination of the Drow also yields an obsidian scarab bearing the insignia of House Freth, 25 GP. One of the dead humans has a Dungeoneer's pack with spoiled rations and no torches remaining. The other dead human carries a set of thieves' tools. Alright, and then in the companion, we read the following about Area 11A. The likeness of the Mad Mage is carved across the cavern walls. To count would be a waste of your time. They're innumerable. Is this just another manifestation of Hallister's ego? The blind devotion of a sycophant or something? Something new? You're reminded of the old tales of primitive men that would put a face to their god. Okay, area 11B. In the companion, we read carved into the floor of the narrow tunnel leading to this cave is a large X, a warning sign. This cave contains a silt pit like the one in Area 4. Another silt pit. Okay, then we go to Area 12, the edible moss area. In the module, we read a natural vent in the floor keeps this cave warm and humid. Growing on the walls is a thick carpet of edible golden moss that the giants and humanoids find tasty and nutritious. The moss is replenished. The moss is replenished by Hallister's magic and can be scraped off the walls in slabs. Okay, in area 13 starts here with Rhodos and Obsidia. Okay, the introduction for Giants' living quarters in area 13 is this cluster of 13-foot high caverns serves as the living quarters for the Stone Giants family. I'll read from the module first. Here the adventurers meet the family's matriarch, Obsidia and Rhodos in Area 13A. You come across a most curious sight. Two giants together, one standing on the other's shoulder. The giantess wields a chisel and is carving an abstract design into the ceiling. As you look around, you find dozens just like it all across the cave. When the giants notice their visitors, they loudly ponder their existence together. Assuming the adventurers can understand giant, read the following. The giantess regards you with a puzzled look. What, by Stonebone's beard, are these tiny things? The male giant, still bearing the other on his shoulder, says, Why, I've read about these creatures. You don't read, the giantess interrupts. I read sometimes. With what? We've no books. I've my means. You mean you've got means to lie? Look at that fat tongue of yours, bloated and all. The giantess squints at you again. You there, small folk, doesn't my brother Rhodos take out your tongue? Doesn't my brother have a liar's tongue? Is it not bloated and silvery and all? If the adventurers don't understand or reply in giant, the giants consider them to be of the same intelligence a human would assign to a dog. They then act accordingly, treating the adventurers as innocent animals to protect, until ordered by their parents to dispose of the little mongrels. The shadow of Norse darkens Obsidia's dreams. Her mornings are spent absent-mindedly carving images of this mysterious giant among her other designs in the area. They are often unfinished and overlooked by Rhodos. If confronted over it, she mumbles confusedly as the dreams come back to her. Tears then follow as she almost comprehends who and what the giant is. Each day, Rhodos looks over his previous work and finds Norse carved into the wall by his own hand. The name confuses him but seems familiar. He swishes it around in his mouth like a piece of hard candy, often muttering it aloud, as if it will one day become clear. Now, in the module, we read the following. Two stone giants named Obsidia and Rhodos have been tasked with carving abstract designs into the roof of this empty cave. To reach the ceiling, Obsidia rides on her brother's broad shoulders. He's using a chisel to smooth out some of the rough spots. If of all the giants in here, Obsidia and Rhodos are the least set in their ways and most likely to tolerate small folk. Characters who bribe them with at least 500 GP worth of precious metals, gemstones, or art objects can convince the giants to let them pass or to escort the party to the tunnel that leads to Area 8, which doesn't sound very interesting if it's going to go past this level. Okay, then Area 13B, in the companion, we read, this cavern is furnished, well, let's go up here. This cavern is furnished with the furs of slain beasts. Shallow pools of water are fed by the disparate rain filtered through the limestone above. The giantess sits cross-legged at the center of the cavern, polishing gemstones with a patch of bat fur. This is where violence should be most expected. Speliosa will tolerate no intruders in her home. Any giant but Zorta is willing to defy her orders, however, possibly protecting the adventurers from harm, especially if the giants view them as pets. Role-playing Speliosa. Somber and distant since the death of her son Norsh, Speliosa has found herself in an inexplicable depression. Memories float out from the darkness, memories of better days she can't quite wholly grasp. Always is there a feeling of longing. When a particularly sharp memory thrusts itself into the foreground, she sometimes mumbles to herself things like, put down the boulder, and no, no, mother's here. Sometimes Speliosa even hums lullabies. Whenever their memories reset, the other giants find themselves avoiding Speliosa, fearing that she may have gone mad. Once the fairy dragon arrives to create mischief, read the following. A soft gush of wind flows throughout the cavern, bringing with it the scent of freshly cut grass and lilacs, and on it rides a mischievous giggle. A few short words in a barbed language are then uttered, and where there was once stone, a forest now flourishes. The barbed language is draconic, Otto's chosen language for verbal components of spells. The giants panic under the sudden change. Speliosa blames the adventurers and demands blood, where Subsidia and or Rhodos may warn the characters to flee. Treasure Alcove. The elemental gem of air found here summons an air elemental. See Appendix B for its statistics. Okay, let's read from the module, Area 13B. The walls and domed roof display carvings of stone giants. At the foot of each carving is a pile of loose rocks. Unless she is interrupted, Speliosa, the stone giant, is sitting in the middle of the cave and using a patch of bat fur to polish amber gemstones. Otto, the fairy giant, shows up to create mischief shortly after the adventurers arrive. If Speliosa detects intruders in her home, she grabs loose rocks from the piles around the room, instructs Obsidian Rhodos Area 13A to do the same, and set out to destroy the invaders. Attempting to reason with Speliosa while she's hurling rocks is no simple matter, and she isn't receptive to bribes. If one or more of her children are imperiled, Speliosa becomes calm and begins negotiating for their safe release. While the characters are dealing with Speliosa, the invisible fairy dragon flies into the cavern, becomes invisible, becomes visible momentarily as it casts the hallucinatory terrain spell and turns invisible again as a bonus action. Characters who have a passive wisdom perception score of 17 or higher glimpse the wee dragon for a second before it turns invisible. On a subsequent turn, Otto flies back to Maddgoth's castle. His spells, its spell, Otto's spell replaces all of areas 10, 12, and 13 with a sylvan forest. The cavern walls remain but are masked by the illusion. Any stone giant in the affected area find themselves in wholly unfamiliar terrain and become panicky. Their inclination is to blame the characters, and dispelling the fairy dragon's magic does little to console them. If the characters don't flee, the giants attack them out of fear. Area 13, no wait, and then there's treasure. Speliosa has gathered 30 amber gemstones, 100 GP each. Treasure Alcove, Area 13C. Niches have been carved into the walls of this deep alcove at a height of 15 feet. The stone giants keep their accumulated treasure here. The niches contain a wooden cask filled with 5 gallons of tar A damaged alabaster troll mask missing its nose, 25 GP. A rhinestone sack that holds 250 GP and 800-pound life-size statue of Alistair painted blue. The Alistair statue has an elemental gem for a heart. This gem can be obtained by shattering or disintegrating the statue. With a successful DC 12 strength athletics check, a character can use an action to knock the statue off its high shelf, causing it to shatter on the floor. Area 13D, which is up right in the right corner here. These caves smell like an animal den, not surprising. Oh, sorry, no. Cave of Rest. The stone giants come here to rest when they're tired. The cave is devoid of furnishings and ostentation. Okay, let's see. Area 14. Where are you? There it is, up there. Okay, let's go there. For 14A and 14B. Okay, in the module, we read, these caves smell like an animal den. Not surprising, um, given that Kurok keeps his cave bears here. The air is foul with the sharp, this is from the companion. The air is foul with the sharp odor of scat and rotting flesh. In the distance, something heavy and pawed makes its way across the cavern floor. If Speak with Animals is cast, the bears here explain that a seventh giant, Norsh, was slain some time ago. Without a moon to guide them, the bears have no frame of reference for passing of time. Small men came with an iron and fire and cut him down, they say. They've since gravitated to Korok as their new master. Okay, then in the module we read about Area 14A. Adult cave bears. 2 adult cave bears use polar bear statistics rest here. These mates attack anyone they don't recognize, defending their young in Area 14B. Gnawed bones cover the den's floor. 14B, young cave bears. 2 cave bear cubs use the black bear statistics, sleep and play here. Korok has hollowed out several large rocks for the young bears to run through and climb on. Area 15, Korok's Den. The stone giants stopped sculpting these caves when they encountered soft sandstone beneath the harder stone. Korok has turned this area into a private den. 15A, Unfinished Cave. Natural columns of rock support the cave ceiling, the walls of which depict unfinished carvings of lanky stone giants hurling rocks. The cave is otherwise empty. 15B, Gym. This cave's walls are bereft of carvings. Resting on the floor at the north end of the cave are stone barbells and stacks of circular stone plates with holes bored through the middle of them. Kurok works out here, using the barbells and boulders as weights. Area 16, Central Cavern. Wow, okay. In the module we read, this 180-foot diameter spherical cavern has a domed ceiling and a bowl-shaped floor. Along its perimeter are stone ledges, Area 16A, that don't quite encircle the chamber. Any creature knocked off a ledge goes tumbling down the inward-sloping rock walls to the bottom of the cavern, see Area 16B, which is strewn with rocks, bones, and the bodies of 2 dead umber hulks. At the center of the cavern, floating 10 feet above a smooth, 80-foot-tall mithril spindle that erupts from the floor, is Maddgoth's castle. The stone castle is more than 60 feet away from the ledges, putting it outside the range of some creature's dark vision. The stone giants have never noticed it for this reason. The castle looks small enough to fit in a 20-foot cube and it floats at the center of an invisible 40-foot radius sphere of transmutation magic that shrinks all creatures and objects in its area to 1/12 their normal size. A 6-foot tall person becomes a 6-inch tall person, for example. Characters who enter the sphere can tell something has happened to them when Maddgoth's castle suddenly looms 12 times larger in their vision. A shrunken creature or object reverts to its natural size normal size once it leaves the sphere, which is generated by the mithril spindle. No saving throw is allowed to resist the shrinking effect, and nothing short of divine intervention can suppress the spindle's magic. The spindle is impervious to damage, and it generates a magical repulsion field that prevents creatures from approaching any closer to it than 5 feet. When Alistair created the mithril spindle, he exempted certain creatures and objects from its shrinking effect. The spindle itself is unaffected, as is Maddgoth's homunculus. Fairy dragons are also immune to the shrinking effect, and there might be other creatures and objects that are unaffected as well, based solely on the Mad Mage's whim. In the Companion, we read of Area 16 to the players. The cavern spans far into the dark, far beyond what even the sharpest eye can see, or the brightest torch can reveal. Ledges hug the walls, giving way to a bowl-shaped canyon. Heavy steps fall like thunder in the distance. When the party arrives, Kurok is doing sprints and push-ups. A memory of Maddgoth haunts Kurok. As the giant searches the cavern floor for valuables, he finds himself sometimes muttering about the Pale Man, such as come out, Pale Man," and the like. His muttering echoes across the cavern. When he meets the party, he asks if they've met the Pale Man, and if they say yes, Kurok asks if he's brought back the cure to his madness. Like every foray here, Kurok has tried to scale the mithril spindle at the center of the cavern and been repulsed. Hoping the party knows anything about it, he quickly brings it up. He then spits in the spindle's general direction, condemning it. Reaching the castle. As written, the front door of the castle, Area 17, is 80 feet off the ground. There's no ledge to step outside the door. It opens upon the empty air. Given the mithril spindle's repulsion field, flight is ostensibly necessary to reach the castle. Conventional methods like scaling, erecting a ladder, or throwing down a rope doesn't work, though it would be comedic to watch the adventurers try. Other methods may include teleportation spells such as Dimension Door. The creature only shrinks when it enters or is inside the spindle's field of magic, so the distance of a teleportation spell remains unaffected. Having Kurok hurl them upwards. Though the characters will shrink as they enter the field of magic, their momentum will remain relative, allowing them to reach the door where they can make a DC 14 dexterity saving throw to catch the door's handle. On a failure, they hurtle back down to the cavern floor. Kurok can make a DC 10 dexterity saving throw to catch them. Appealing loudly and debasingly to Halaster, who of course is always listening. His arcane eye can even be seen floating around the cavern. If they use the magic word please, Halaster spurs them to Area 17. So those are the 3 ways. The Dimension Door, Kurok can throw them up, or they can beg Halaster for help. Or they can just fly up. Okay, and then we have Area 16A in detail from the module. These ledges are 90 feet above the cavern floor and safe to traverse. And in Area 16B, the cavern floor. If no one has raised an alarm, Kurok, the stone giant, is searching the cavern floor for interesting rocks and gem deposits, or sprinting and doing push-ups. Amid the rocks on the cavern floor are the rotting corpses of 2 Umberhalts killed by Kurok in the western caves. Kurok's body is a temple, and he has honed and shaped it to perfection. His extensive physical training gives him advantage on all strength checks and strength saving throws. Every time Kurok loses his memory, he forgets about his previous excursion to the bottom of this cavern. He lowers himself to the floor, discovers the mithril spindle, and tries to climb it to see what's at the top. Rebuffed and discouraged by the repulsion field that surrounds the spindle, he starts combing the cavern floor for treasure. When an alarm sounds in the caverns around this area, Kurok climbs up to the ledge closer to the disturbance. If doing that puts him anywhere near his pet cave bears in Area 14, he summons them to his side with a booming bear-like roar. Korok likes physical challenges. He neither shies away from combat nor backs down from a fight unless his mother Speliosa commands him to. Falling from Maddgoth's castle. If a creature that is reduced to 1/12 its normal size falls from the castle, it will travel over 600 relative feet before hitting the cavern floor, due to the reducing effect around the castle, which turns every foot of actual distance into 12 feet of relative distance. From its perspective, the creature would seem to fall several hundred feet before suddenly growing 12 times bigger in the final 40 feet before impact. Because the reducing effect because the reducing effect creatures more relative distance between the creature because the reducing effect creates more relative distance between the creature and the cavern floor, a fall from anywhere on the castle deals 20d6 bludgeoning damage on impact, which is the maximum damage you can take from a fall. Okay, that's it about the caverns for level 7.
We hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our new videos to level up your campaign. Special thanks to Wyatt Troll for writing his amazing companion, available at dmsguild.com, which this video is based on. We strongly recommend getting the complete edition. We couldn't imagine running any of the campaign without it.